So, I've spent about 3 weeks with the Surface Book 2 and I am not really impressed. I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit more picky lately, even though I don't think so. Maybe I use laptops or I think different about them than others. But I think all the reviews that I've seen, at least the titles, because I haven't watched the reviews, seem completely crazily overhyped. It is very good, but for the price, I expect things to be better than just good in some aspects and have quite some compromises. Because I mean, I really do like the Surface Pro. I really do like the Surface laptop. But I don't really like the Surface Book 2. I mean, for this price, people say it's small, powerful and all that, but we will see more of these quite soon that kinda are more reasonable. Because what I don't want to make in this video actually make a detailed review like I usually do, but more of a, let's say, 3-week experience report. I think that's actually way more helpful, because if you want benchmarks and if you want to see those kind of things, you are wrong here. I want to share my daily use experience and share some thoughts that I think people definitely need to know in case they are thinking about purchasing this. So let's get into the first thing. What is this even supposed to be? Yes, obviously it's kind of a laptop, but it's also a tablet if you take it apart. And I kind of get the tablet part, especially for the people who use not just the touchscreen, but also the pen, which I didn't have for this review because I can't draw, as a, let's say, artistic device. Then I kind of get it, but then I think there are more professional solutions that are also more specific towards what you are getting here. Because this is, in my opinion, with about 1.6 kilograms, just too heavy for a 13.5-inch laptop. And by the way, in Germany, we don't have the 15-inch version. So it's too big for that purpose. And for a tablet, I think so as well. So I don't think it's a great tablet. And it is a good laptop, but therefore just too big. And now you could say you have a great, powerful package for a small size. And I kind of agree. But let me just tell you, this is still a low voltage quad core, and we already see way more of these in ultrabooks, and with the 1050 here it's absolutely top, but we will see more of these as real laptops quite soon, and maybe even smaller, because this is still very expensive for what it is. And just in terms of ports, 2 USB 3.0 ports is fine, the SD card reader, which I don't think has the fastest speeds I've heard, the headphone jack here, and the hair stuck, then USB Type-C. I don't think it's Thunderbolt as far as I know. I didn't really check because I don't really have anything to check it, and the port for the charging. On the back or on the bottom, not really anything that protects it from sliding, which is already a little bit of a bummer for me. No ventilation because that's not necessary. We have, of course, the fulcrum hinge or whatever it's called. We have a completely useless cutout. I will get into that soon. Power button and volume rocker. So it is a nice package, and it is built absolutely top notch. It is just heavy. So what I said about the cutout, why it's not helpful, because this is way too flat. I can't go with my finger in there. And what you have to do is, if you want to open it with one hand, you kind of have to get past the resistance point of the magnet. Because, like for example, now you could open it. But this resistance you pretty much can't get out of the way. As you've seen, the screen unlock works fine. Bezels are moderate. After all, if you want to use this as... Now, the tablet, it is actually quite lightweight for a tablet, but I think a 13.5-inch tablet, even though very powerful, feels awkward to me. And in my normal use, in my 3 weeks of testing, I only used this once as a tablet and just to try it out. And yeah, it didn't quite get me. If you want to draw on it, fine. And it's, like I said, actually really lightweight, which I actually didn't even remember so much because I didn't really use it that much. But let's get it back into laptop mode, because I think this is still pretty much what most people will use it like. And once again, yes, the build quality inside continues to be just as good. Everything is nice, materials are fine. What's not that great about the keyboard, if we go into it, is the color. A gray or light gray keyboard with white backlight is just not a smart idea in my opinion, because on certain angles you have a hard time, actually, and this is not so much visible on the video, a hard time seeing the actual letters. As you can see, these are now way much more visible than now. And believe me, once you are in a darker environment on an angle, this is quite annoying. but it is what it is. The great thing though, I have to give it to that, is the actual keyboard experience, because the layout is fine with all the secondary functions, which, like I said, will be harder to find, because the issue with the backlighting is not a problem for most people who blind typely anyways. But if you want to find the specific secondary functions, this will make it harder. But the keyboard, nice and quiet, high quality, great feedback, distance and layout, everything here spot on. And this is one of the best Ultrabook typing experience that I've had. About the trackpad, actually pretty much the same as well, because it doesn't feel to have any gap window. It's very precise, scrolling works absolutely top. We have, since it is a precision trackpad, of course, all the gestures, so this works super nice. Now let's get into my kind of early first gripe, the display. Why? First of all, I couldn't measure my spider values because I had the spider installed, but it says no spider attached, or the activation can't be done because it can't see it and so on. So I couldn't just measure it. But just from my experience, having already calibrated so many laptops and monitors, I can tell you that the calibration seems quite off for me, because way too warm, which was actually a little bit on the annoying warm side. But the main issue actually for me is content adaptive brightness control, because you can disable adaptive brightness control, but you can't disable the content adaptive brightness control easily. What you can do is you have to get into registry. Maybe I will link that how you can do it, because you just have to change one value, which is something that I think should not be necessary. There should just be a switch somewhere in the settings to allow you that, because what it does is, if you are in a darker scenario in terms of content, a movie or a dark page and so on, the screen will dim no matter what. And once you go to something bright again, it will lighten up. I turned it off because I think it's super annoying, even though quite subtly done, but it's annoying because every movie, every TV show, everything I watch on this YouTube video just looks dull because it just dims too much. I think it's annoying. Other than that, the resolution is nice, it's bright enough, which is also a weird thing though, because I needed at least about 70% for a good experience. Then 80 for the one that I would like to, and then I have just 2 steps for kind of reserves. Okay, this looks way too bright, but that's due to my picture. But let me just tell you that it gets to the right brightness just a little bit too late, but it gets there and it has reserve, and it is absolutely a good screen, just a little bit off in terms of calibration. Now speaker, just real quick, even though I think it's connected to my Bluetooth speaker down there. No, it actually isn't. It is, after all, a tablet speaker, because since you can use it as a tablet, the speakers have to be there, and it's just nowhere near the quality or the volume of the Surface laptop, which in my opinion also actually even the Surface Pro sounds way better. This is good for a tablet and good for a laptop, especially comparing to those that have it more on the bottom. Yeah, it gets the job done. Headphone jack as well. Performance. One thing that I have to mention are the SSD speeds. What is that supposed to be? I mean, 3 GB of read speeds are great, but 330 writes, and I did the check again and again, as you can see here. As you can see, this value actually even drops. So they fluctuate quite a lot, always around display. So I did it multiple times because I thought just something was off. Other than that, of course, the performance is great, because, and this is just is something that I just quickly want to mention, because if you want to see benchmarks and so on, there are definitely other places to find, because that's something I don't want to get into. Quad core, but low voltage quad core means it is better than any dual core ultra core for sure. Ultra core, I mean dual core. Like roughly 30-40%. In normal use, you notice it. Everything feels lighter, everything feels better, and usually you get more RAM, so multitasking is better. So all daily tasks with ease, you can render videos now, especially since this also has the at least depending on your configuration, has a GTX 1050 in it, the bigger one even the 1060 if I'm not wrong. And yes, this is great, and for many now there would be also the chance to play games, which it can. But I also have to tell you one thing, just be aware of that and just think of that for a second. Would you really pay $2,400 or whatever it costs where you are, euros, dollars, for a laptop that is very stylish and thin to just play games? I don't think so, because everyone, especially a gamer, would still be better off with a cheaper, dedicated gaming laptop that has a proper quad-core or the HQ or something like that. Even some has desktop processors, the better GeForce and so on. This is too much. It's a great all-rounder because you can do everything from gaming to video editing, photo render, yeah, but also, and all these kind of things. But I wouldn't get this for gaming. There are better dedicated gaming things. There are better workstations and all. This is a great all-rounder, which is still kind of quite portable. But it's neither here nor there in my opinion. Heat and noise, absolutely not a problem. I'm not going into that. It never got warm. The fan never went on in normal use. And even then it's super quiet. It's never really warm. So here they did a banging job. Same goes also actually for the battery. The whole package, which is quite a big battery after all. I can tell you the value. It's once 58 watt hours and once 18, which is way bigger than most other laptops in general, because the really good ones like the Dell Express 13 have like a 56 watt hour battery. Here you get additional 20 more. And this definitely shows, and that's why the battery life is so good. It also needs a little bit time to charge up, which is almost like 3 hours, 2 hours and 45. But I got about 8.5 to 9 hours with my use, which already, due to having all the battery saving technologies turned off, is a really good value. So here I can give it to that because of the big battery. It's great. Oh, and one thing I totally forgot, but it's very crucial. I have to mention that. It's the issues with the Wi-Fi that I had, because 5 gigahertz made me a lot of trouble. First of all, if I watch a video from my local network over Wi-Fi, even though the speeds actually show that there is no issue, every video, like every few seconds, has a hang, like a little bit of a micro freeze. That was super annoying. Once I switched to 2.4 gigahertz, this issue was gone. And this is not just the really weird issue here, because I've seen this on the Razer Blade Stealth, which I think has the same drivers. I've seen this on the Surface Pro, and I've seen this on the Surface laptop. So something around Microsoft's wireless drivers is working really weird, because 5 gigahertz and also the reception. Usually up here, I don't have strong Wi-Fi, not the fastest one, but it's stable. And every time I'm upstairs here and check devices for good Wi-Fi signals, and they start to drop out at the 2.4 gigahertz signal, it shows me it's not the best, and this one had a lot of issues. Usually most devices connect and the reception is fine, but this one quite often had some cutouts. So something around Wi-Fi, which is crucial after all. You won't use this wired a lot. So it's a very important thing, is not as good as it should be. And the fact that even the Surface Pro 4 had this issue, especially with the weird little freeze at videos, is something annoying and something you should definitely be aware of. That's why I had to cut it in, because it's a crucial thing. It's a basic thing and it should just work, but for some reason it doesn't, at least not with my setup, even though it never has any issues with other devices. So that's it, back to the normal review. But I don't really want to take up too much of your time. What is this? Okay, let me try to find the proper customers for this. Artists who want something still powerful with the pen support and a stylish device, great quality, who have the money to spend it on, want a nice display, even though I think they should definitely calibrate it first, and want to type a lot with a great experience, and want an overall great experience and just don't shy away from spending so much. Sure. Average consumers, no, stay away from it. Go for something like the Surface Laptop, Dell Express 13, or whatever else. There are better alternatives, especially if you want something more lightweight, because, yeah, if you want a tablet, get the Surface Pro. And this is just where I'm a little bit confused. Or let's say I have an issue with recommending it, because I told you who it can be for, and that's, for example, not the gamer, even though it can play games quite on a nice level. This doesn't look like a gaming laptop for a reason. So in the end, I have to say they made a weird hybrid. It's not the best laptop, because therefore it's too big and too bulky. After all, even though powerful, it's too weird to use as a tablet, and with just 18 watt hours it won't hold all that much. The display is a little bit weirdly calibrated, the speakers are just good, and it's crazy expensive. That's my main problem. Once this comes down in price, noticeably though, significantly, and the package, what it offers you, which is definitely a great all around, but nothing really specific, so it's kind of like a jack of all trades, but nothing specific good at. Totally. If you want to get it, yes. But I think most people will just be better off with a dedicated device just for their needs. And most people don't need the tablet function. Most people don't need the pen function. Most people, don't need to spend so much money to get a very, very similar, if not sometimes even better experience. And that's just where I'm gonna leave it. Okay, yeah, bye. Until next time.